Hey, this is Mark from The Dish, and today we are going to be reacting to a second part of our first episode. So let's just start.
Have a composting facility or anything near where I live. So what I do with my food scraps is I put it down the disposal. Is that kind of like a mini solution to preventing some of that methane from releasing, or is that maybe even worse than just throwing it out?
Yeah, so the question here is whether or not you can use your food disposal and your sink to avoid methane gas that's being produced if you throw your food scraps into the trash.
A really great question. Yeah. It is not any better than just throwing your food out, it turns out. And I think that was, again, I mentioned that EPA report that came out recently. I think that was a real interesting conclusion that came up.
Yeah, so, and she's right about that. So, throwing out your food into the sink was for a long time thought to be a pretty clean process. But it turns out that because of the lack of oxygen in that environment, the breakdown of your food scraps and the organic material that it is made of produces quite a lot of methane, even if you use your food disposal. Not a lot different to what is happening in the anaerobic, so without oxygen environments that you have in landfills, where you put food scraps in, and that also can create a lot of methane. So it turns out that is not a good alternative to if you want to avoid methane gas. The best alternative really is to use compost services or like a compost bin to put your food scraps in. That is typically broken down by different organisms under different conditions. Creates a lot less methane. Actually, usually it creates no methane at all, but it does create usable, reusable compost that then can be used to grow, for example, other food.
That report is that when you put food down your garbage disposal, it goes into your sewer system. It goes to the same place, where you're flushing your toilet goes, and there are a lot of emissions. The food decays along the way, and so actually is kind of producing methane that way. So sadly, because I really like I find it very clean to put food down my garbage disposal, but sadly it turns out it really is not any better than just throwing it in the garbage. And there are a growing number of those companies that Mark was talking about that are popping up all over the place to collect your compost for you. I think that's an option.
Yeah, I'm just going to spool a little forward because we already talked about this. I think here we talk about the Best Buy.
Bust the myth that those date labels.
Yeah, all right, let's start there.
I've not talked about today is those date labels on food, and anywhere I can, I like to bust the myth that those date labels are telling you the food is bad, because that is not actually what they mean, and they are very widely misunderstood. So those date labels on food are really telling you when the manufacturer estimates the food is at its best quality. They are not telling you to throw the food out after the date. Most products can be safely eaten days, weeks, months after this date.
Yeah, she's right here. So I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make, is to throw their food away after the Best Buy date is gone, or which is really just an industry standard for letting consumers know when they estimate the best quality of the product is available. Most products, including meat products, can be eaten very safely a long time after the Best Buy product, depending on how you store it.
Depending on the product, if it looks fine, smells fine, tastes fine, and you really can trust your senses for most things. The industry is working towards a system where the words best by mean that it is a quality date, and the words used by mean you should be a little bit more careful when you see that date.
The vast majority of products has a best by date, and those are really just indicators when the industry or the manufacturer thinks that is when you still get the best quality out of the product. And that, again, that date, that depends a lot on how it is stored and how you treat your product after you purchase it. And it can be a long time after that date when your products are still fine. Let me know in the comments what you like us to discuss more. There are so many things in this food waste space that we can explain more. Talk to you soon. See ya.